In today's video, we will be talking about focus. Our ability to focus is one of the most foundational tools in our careers and our lives. Whether you have trouble focusing, or would simply like to learn some strategies to increase your ability to focus, the topics we discuss in this video will help you understand what focus is and how to improve it using science-backed strategies. Let's start with a quick explanation of what focus actually is. What we call focus is a state of mind that involves several different neurochemicals and several different areas of our brain. We'll start by discussing the three most important neurochemicals in the process we call focus. First and foremost is epinephrine. Epinephrine, often referred to as adrenaline, is the neurochemical responsible for alertness. Next, we have a neurochemical called acetylcholine. Acetylcholine acts as a kind of targeting system in our brain. It essentially identifies which neurons in our brain need to be active. Once these neurons are identified, epinephrine then serves as the neurochemical responsible for their alertness. The third chemical in this equation is dopamine. Dopamine is often thought of as a reward chemical, but this is actually not entirely true. Studies have shown that dopamine's role in our brain actually has more to do with motivation than pleasure. In the context of focus, dopamine serves as the driving force behind epinephrine and acetylcholine. If we were to use the analogy of a train, epinephrine would be the train, acetylcholine would be the tracks telling the train where to go, and dopamine would be the coal fueling the train's engines. Most of the methods for improving focus that we will discuss in this video are methods for increasing our levels of one or more of these specific neurochemicals. But first, let's start by discussing the importance of warming up before an intense session of focus. When we focus, we enter a very specific state of mind, involving very specific neurochemicals. We often try to simply ingest some sort of substance and snap right into a state of focus. But this isn't really how our brains work. It often takes a bit of time to get our minds in the right state for focus. Warming up beforehand can be an incredible way to prime our minds for the work we plan on doing. And doing this not only makes it easier for you to drop into states of deep focus, but it can significantly increase the efficiency of the time you spend focusing. So, how can we warm up our minds in a way that optimizes focus? There was a study done on binaural beats that showed that listening to 40 Hz binaural beats for 30 minutes before studying can significantly increase your ability to focus. This is because binaural beats were found to affect the release of dopamine, and as we have learned, dopamine is one of the important factors in focus. There are some things to keep in mind though. The study that was done specifically tested binaural beats at 40 Hz. So make sure that you're listening to binaural beats at this specific frequency. Another important thing to note is that binaural beats work by playing slightly different frequencies in each ear. So to actually feel the effects of binaural beats, it's important that you wear headphones with the capacity for stereo audio. Another way we can warm up before long periods of focus is through cold exposure. This might not be everyone's favorite, but cold exposure has been shown to significantly increase both our dopamine and our epinephrine levels. Taking a cold shower or bath for 3 minutes before focusing can significantly improve the quality of your mood and your work. It's important to warm up your mind before focusing. But just like with exercise, it's also important to take breaks. In neuroscience, there's a concept known as the Ultradian Cycle. The Ultradian Cycle is the ideal amount of time to spend in any one specific bout of intense focus. The ideal duration for one of these cycles is around 90 minutes, taking 10 to 30 minute breaks in between. Taking 10 to 30 minute breaks every hour and a half can improve the quality of your focus and your work. It's also important to note that these breaks are breaks from focus. So if you take your break and spend it focusing on a book, or focusing on your phone, you're not really taking a break from focusing. Ideally, you would spend this time taking a short nap or a walk. some sort of activity where you're not stressing your mind too much. Now that we've covered how focus works and why it's important to warm up and take breaks, let's look at some of the more foundational ways that we can improve focus. Let's talk about meditation. A study from New York University showed that meditating for 13 minutes a day over the course of 8 weeks could significantly improve subjects' attention, mood, and focus. In this study, subjects would sit or lie down for 13 minutes and focus on their breathing, while also bringing their attention to a point just behind their foreheads. Every time your mind wanders, gently guide it back to your breath and the point behind your forehead. The purpose of this practice is not to be perfect, but to attentively train your mind to focus and bring your attention back to a specific point. When we know how focus works, you can see how this practice would affect your ability to focus on work. What you're essentially doing is training your ability to focus. Another vital element of focus is our blood glucose levels. Not a lot of people know this, but your brain actually uses a significant number of the calories that you burn in a day. Our brains are supercomputers, but they don't run on electricity. They run on glucose. Making sure your mind has access to calories is important when attempting to focus or learn for long periods of time. However, eating just before working is not optimal because your body will allocate energy away from your brain and towards digestion. So it's best to eat 1 to 3 hours before working or studying so you can allow your body to digest before using those calories for mental work. And last, let's look at a couple supplements that can be used to improve our mental function. The two that I would like to highlight are omega-3 fatty acids and creatine. Omega-3s are extremely effective at modulating elements of our brain concerning mood and focus, and you can get them from either supplements or foods. It's important to note, however, that there are multiple types of omega-3s. The two most common are DHA and EPA. The omega-3s that we want to consume for mental function are EPAs. You'll often find that omega-3 supplements have much higher DHA than EPA ratios. If your goal is mental performance, it's incredibly important to make sure that the omega-3s you're consuming are high in EPA instead of DHA. You can often find the EPA and DHA levels on a supplement's nutrition label. 1 to 3 grams of EPA per day is the ideal dose for modulating cognitive functions. Another supplement that's been shown to improve cognitive function is creatine. You might be thinking that creatine is just for building muscle. But creatine was initially studied as a nootropic, that is, a supplement for increasing mental performance. 5 grams of creatine is the standard daily dose. But our muscles are fairly greedy, and when we take 5 grams of creatine, most of it doesn't reach our brains. So if your goal is to improve cognitive function, the recommended dose for optimal performance is 10 grams of creatine daily. Be sure to talk with your doctor before implementing any serious supplementation programs. So there you have it, science-backed methods for improving our focus and getting the most out of our workdays. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Have a great day, and as always, keep learning.